Gaming Bolt presents 5 big improvements Project Scorpio brings to the table. Microsoft have finally revealed the specifications of its next big hardware, Project Scorpio, through Digital Foundry. With the Xbox One Scorpio, Microsoft is hoping to win back favor from the developers that it once courted and enjoyed a great relationship with in the Xbox 360 days, only to have the carpet swept out from under them as Sony ended up emulating the Xbox 360 playbook to a T with the PS4, and courted developers over to their side instead. Through this video, we'll take a look at 5 big improvements that the Scorpio brings to the table. On a related note, we highly recommend checking out Digital Foundry's coverage on the Scorpio. We pointed out major improvements of Scorpio in this video, but if you need the full picture on the console and the internal tidbits, check them out. You can do so by clicking on the links provided in the description. Major boost in specs compared to PS4 Pro. The shocking part about the Scorpio's hardware upgrade is not just how thoroughly it's an upgrade over the existing Xbox One hardware, which was never all that impressive to begin with, but also something like the PlayStation 4 Pro, which until now has been the strongest home console available on the market. In every way possible, the PS4 Pro, and by extension the original PS4 too, is trounced by the Scorpio. The biggest gains are, again, in terms of the memory. Scorpio benefits from a staggering 12 GB of unified GDDR5 RAM with a memory bandwidth of 326 GB per second. The PS4 Pro, on the other hand, comes up short with only 8 GB of GDDR5 RAM at a bandwidth of 218 GB per second. The GPUs match up similarly. The Scorpio's 40 customized compute units at 1172 MHz pull up ahead of the PS4 Pro's 36 improved GCN compute units at 911 MHz by a long shot. The closest the two machines get at all is in terms of the CPU, which again makes sense given that the CPU is the least thorough update the Scorpio has received over the original Xbox One hardware, with the Scorpio's 8 customized Jaguar cores clocked at 2.3 GHz coming in only slightly better of PS4 Pro's 8 Jaguar cores clocked at 2.1 GHz. On the whole though, it's clear that the Scorpio is a far more thorough upgrade than the more conservative PS4 Pro ever was. Phil Spencer wasn't lying when he said he didn't want it to be a half step, that's for sure. Architecture improvements. The Scorpio engine is the new system-on-chip SoC that lies at the heart of the machine. It's a 16nm FinFET chip produced by TSMC with 7 billion transistors containing a custom CPU cluster and 40 customized Radeon compute units, among other things. In other words, this is as densely packed and high-end as it is currently possible to get. The SoC apart, the Scorpio uses 12 GB of GDDR5 RAM, which is available via 6.8 GHz GDDR5 modules operating across a 384-bit memory interface, which represents a substantial improvement over not just the existing Xbox One and Xbox One S, but also the PS4 and PS4 Pro. A lot of the gains for the Scorpio come from how efficient the entire machine is. Scorpio achieves this, at least in part, by utilizing a technique called the Hovis method, and calibrating every motherboard to the precise processor it is paired with. The result of all this? Microsoft is using what might be a first for mainstream consumer-grade tech. The Scorpio features a vapor chamber cooling, which is very similar to the kind of cooling setups seen on high-end PC GPUs such as GTX 1080 and GTX 1080 Ti. This machine will probably run hot, and hey, at least Microsoft appears to have kept proper heat dissipation in mind this time around. DirectX 12 enhancements and more memory for games. Microsoft has been pushing DirectX 12 for a few years now. With the Scorpio, the benefits of all that will finally make themselves manifest. Andrew Goosen, technical fellow at Microsoft, explained how Scorpio will have unique DirectX 12 benefits due to the hardware design in a chat with Digital Foundry. "We essentially moved Direct3D 12, he said. Direct3D is the graphical component of DirectX, which is a bundle of multiple APIs. We built that into the command processor of the GPU, and what that means is that for all the high-frequency API invocations that the games do, they'll all natively implemented in the logic of the command processor. And what this means is that our communication from the game to the GPU is super efficient. It's a massive win for us and for the developers who have adopted Direct3D 12 on Xbox. They've told us they've been able to cut their CPU rendering overhead by half, which is pretty amazing because now the driver portion of that is such a tiny fraction." Furthermore, Microsoft has also confirmed that out the 12 GB RAM, 8 GB will be available for game developers and the remaining 4 GB will be reserved for OS and other system tasks. CPU improvements and ESRAM removal. The Xbox One Scorpio makes some dramatic changes to the memory pool and distribution in the Xbox One, going from a split 8GB DDR3/32 MB ESRAM to a unified 12GB GDDR5 RAM pool. When Microsoft made the decision to remove ESRAM, were they not worried about breaking compatibility with the existing Xbox One? Microsoft's Nick Baker told Digital Foundry that the memory system we've got enough bandwidth to more than cover what we got from ESRAM. We simply go and use our virtual memory map to map the 32 MB of physical address that the old games thought they got into 32 MB in the GDDR5. So latency is higher, but in terms of aggregate performance, the improved bandwidth and improved GPU performance means we don't hit any issues. On the other hand, while the memory has seen the most thorough improvements, the CPU looks to be the big bottleneck for the Scorpio, at least in relative terms. People were hoping for a more sophisticated CPU in the Scorpio than is in the PS4, PS4 Pro, or Xbox One. However, it looks like we're stuck with the Jaguar, albeit slightly configured to keep up with the rest of the machine's improvements. So 8 cores, organized as 2 clusters with a total of 4 MB of L2 cache. These are unique customized CPUs for Scorpio, running at 2.3 GHz. Alluding back to the goals, we wanted to maintain 100% backwards compatibility with Xbox One and Xbox One S while also pushing the performance envelope. It makes sense, the Scorpio is not a next generation machine, it's meant to be a more enhanced Xbox One. Compatibility with the existing machines was ultimately still a paramount concern. Game DVR enhancements. Microsoft has some truly impressive plans for their Game DVR feature, which lets you record and share your gameplay on Xbox One with the upcoming Project Scorpio. By using the next-gen media hardware in the system, Microsoft is aiming to provide 4K 60fps video capture, with no performance hit either, thanks to the HEVC codec. You'll be getting a killer feature as a result of this too. Microsoft is calling it retroactive screenshots, which will let you delve into your saved videos, frame by frame, until you get the one you want, and import it as a screenshot. The good news in all of this is that all of this will also be compatible with backward-compatible Xbox 360 and existing Xbox One games too. It sounds like Microsoft truly want to cultivate the Xbox ecosystem and make it worthwhile for its customers to invest in it. That'll be it for this video. If you like what we're doing, please go ahead and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.